An inspiring Palm Beach County woman who embodies the rags to riches story chooses to give back to her community. As successful as she is, could her helping hand be the reason her happy life unravels? Was it jealousy? Was it greed? What happened early that morning? And what happens when love becomes fatal? This is the Fatal Attraction Podcast with Entrepreneur's Ending.
June 29th, 2017. It's early Thursday morning in Lake Worth, Florida, a town of 40,000 that runs along the water below West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach is part of Palm Beach County, and it's more of an affordable area to live.
Lake Worth, especially suburban Lake Worth, is one of those sort of sprawling suburbs on the edges of West Palm Beach.
It is an area where families can feel safe.
But safety is never guaranteed. A little after 2 a.m., Palm Beach County Dispatch receives a series of frantic 911 calls from a house on the south side of town.
911 emergency. Do you need the police or the paramedics?
We need a paramedic here. They came in and tried to rob us and they shot us. He took the keys to my car. He had on the mask.
Or do you want
the gunshot?
They need fire rescue immediately. Somebody's been shot.
He's not breathing.
You can hear the grief in his voice. You can hear just the anguish that he's going through.
Because according to the caller, the victim is his sister, Mackiva Jenkins.
Get here now, my sister is dying for her life.
Mackiva Jenkins was grounded by faith and family.
She loved her family. She loved the Lord. Church was very important to her faith.
She was a real sweet girl, she was really a God-fearing person. She loved to go to church. She loved to do things, go out and have fun.
It was through a church event that the 34-year-old single mom met her husband, Yuri Jenkins, in 2010.
Both Yuri's parents were pastors. His father was a pastor of a church. His mother was a minister.
Yuri's mom was at a church convention with him, and Mackiva was there too. And she had already knew who his mom was, but to see him with his mom, it was like, oh, who is that?
There is a sense of divine intervention. And you're like, wow, we have the same thing in common, and he believes in God. That right there can definitely spark some interest.
I wish your mother would have told me how handsome her son is.
Once Yuri and Mackiva began dating, the relationship quickly turned serious.
They had like a dream book where they, write down their goals and ambitions. And Yuri would be right there with Mackiva.
His goal was to be there permanently.
My fondest memory was when he proposed to her. I thought that was just, the most beautiful thing. To see her face, how happy she was.
The next few years were happy ones.
Mackiva had a daughter from a previous relationship, but Yuri took her in as his own. They had really built a wonderful life together.
She ended up putting herself through college. She was so driven to succeed because she really just wanted the best for her daughter and her family.
Yuri helped take care of Mackiva's daughter so that she could attend classes, but he also made extra money on the side.
He was a barber, and people came to him to get their hair cut.
The couple also welcomed a new baby in 2011, a son.
But then in 2013, the family hit rock bottom.
They tried to open up a couple of businesses that ended up failing.
They were broke and ended up homeless.
She didn't have a place to stay. She really didn't have no money. She didn't have too much of anything, really.
Until it all turned around.
Mackiva attended a financial literacy seminar.
She felt like it was a goal to always be financially stable.
She learned about budgeting, business plans, that sort of thing.
She ended up getting up out of that hole that she was in.
But it was Yuri who suggested she take it to the next level.
You're like, why haven't you tried to go be a tutor or be a teacher, teach people about how to start a business?
She opened a consulting firm that helped aspiring entrepreneurs.
Yuri gave her an idea, and she ran with it.
She taught them how to become successful, to turn their ideas into a means of taking care of their families and accomplishing their goals.
And she didn't just teach it, she lived it.
She didn't have very much growing up, but because of her dedication and her hard work, she was able to raise herself up into a position to where she was actually making 6 figures a year.
She had moved her family into a beautiful home in a beautiful neighborhood.
It seemed the sky was the limit for Mackiva and her family.
She was on her way to being a very wealthy woman.
Her family was growing too. Mackiva and Yuri welcomed another daughter in 2016.
She was essentially living the American dream.
But now Mackiva and Yuri's American dream has turned into a nightmare.
My sister just got shot in the head.
Mackiva's brother and Yuri's friend, Dimitri, both called 911.
Somebody walked up on us with a gun.
She has a hole under her ear the size of a nickel, and you see blood kind of coming out of it.
Can y'all please get here now?
We have several units on the way.
When the police and EMTs arrive, they find Mackiva upstairs in the master bedroom.
Yuri is in the room and he's holding Mackiva.
He was hysterical, just pleading with her not to die.
They actually have to remove him physically from his wife.
Then as EMTs get to work, there's a sudden glimmer of hope.
All right, let's grab the backboard.
She started coughing, and then I seen her start breathing. And I'm like, fight it, Kiva, fight it.
Prepare yourself for new discoveries. Stay tuned for more of the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
34-year-old Mackiva Jenkins and her husband Yuri were living the good life in Palm Beach County, Florida.
They lived in a beautiful neighborhood. They were doing very, very well.
She was what many people would call a rags to riches story.
Hey, what's up? This is Alfreda's with the Urban One Podcast Network. Let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Chamberlain University. There's a pattern among successful people in any industry. They surround themselves with the right support. And in healthcare, that support starts at Chamberlain University. For over 130 years, Chamberlain has been helping nurses and healthcare professionals fulfill their calling. It's the largest nursing school in the country, offering flexible learning, real mentorship, and a network of over 160,000 professionals. Because progress isn't just about working harder. It's about having the right people in your corner. You got this, and Chamberlain has got you. Get started at chamberlain.edu.Chamberlain University. Belong to something greater. Certified to operate by Chev.
But now EMTs are rushing to save Mackiva, the apparent victim of a masked intruder.
She was shot in the head while she was sleeping, and she was barely clinging on to life.
I'm telling her, if you can fight it, you're strong. You can do it.
As Mackiva is rushed to the hospital, police at the scene are already chasing down their first lead.
Yuri's friend Dimitri Dale told the 911 operator this guy came in, he took my keys, he took the car.
Took my car. If you find the vehicle, there's a possibility the shooter may be close by.
While police put out an APB on Dimitri's stolen car, detectives arrive and take over the investigation.
Detectives started by questioning the 3 witnesses at the scene.
Let's get everybody separated.
Outside, detectives talk to Yuri Jenkins, Dimitri Dale, and Mackiva's brother, Marquavius Greer. The interview's especially difficult for Mackiva's husband.
I know this is hard, but we need your help to find who did this.
I'll try.
He's trying to keep his composure.
He is inconsolable. about what's happening.
But eventually, between Yuri, Dimitri, and Marquavius, detectives are able to piece together what happened.
About 2 o'clock in the morning, Yuri is in his garage hanging out with some friends.
Usually we'll lounge around, play the video games, just chilling, vibing out.
Although that night, Yuri was also giving Mackiva's brother a haircut.
That's what he did, hanging out, giving haircuts.
Yuri's friend, Dimitri Dale, showed up a little before 2 a.m.
How's it going, man? Yo, what's up?
I'm thinking like, he probably here just to get a haircut or something.
But Marquavius was still in the chair when the gunman walked into the garage a few minutes later.
He caught them all by surprise.
He went to Dimitri first, threw Dimitri on the ground, came to me, snatched me out the barber chair. And the whole time this going on, I'm laughing. I'm like, okay, this gotta be a joke. You can't be serious.
Oh, you think I'm playing?
Like, okay, you dead serious.
What kind of gun was it? A revolver.
He pushes me to the side, points the gun at Dimitri and tells Dimitri where the keys to the car at.
And you gave him your car keys?
What was I supposed to do, man? The guy had a gun.
People always be talking about how, oh, if I was in that situation, this what I would have did. But man, in any situation like that, you wouldn't know what to do or how to do it.
When you're in that situation, all that you can focus on is that there's a gun pointed at you.
After that, he tells all us to get up, go in the house. So as we're in the house, you got Dimitri, you got me, then behind me is Yuri and the gunman.
He's saying, where's Cuesta? Where's Cuesta?
Cuesta?
It's my mom.
At that moment, I'm thinking to myself, like, what the hell?
You want my mom? Where's she at?
My mama must have got into an argument with somebody, tried something with somebody, and made them mad.
I thought that maybe she owed somebody money or something.
But if the gunman was after money, he didn't act like it.
The house wasn't ransacked. They weren't tied up while he rummaged for valuables.
This is a targeted attack.
But who was the gunman's target?
He went looking through the house and ended up in the bedroom where Mackiva was sleeping.
I just heard the gunshot. Boom.
Clearly could have been a mistaken identity, not knowing, just saw a female in the bed, so assumed that was Quest.
After that, the intruder fled.
He ran downstairs, and I run into the room, and you see blood. So as I'm seeing that, Yuri told me to call 911.
Call 911! Call 911!
The husband was trying to save her life, pressing against the wound.
Wake up.
He was holding her head, trying to make sure she's okay, talking to her like, Kiva, you know, I can't do this without you.
What am I gonna tell our kids?
Kids? Fortunately, Yuri informed detectives that their children had been staying with his parents and were nowhere near the crime scene.
At the end of the interviews, detectives see no reason to doubt anyone's story.
Everybody's story's consistent as to what happened in the house.
Now all detectives have to do is find the shooter. And it's not long after they finish the interviews that they get their first big break.
Dimitri's stolen car was found less than a mile from Mackiva's house.
The person who drove didn't go very far with it.
They found the car.
If there's any fingerprints or evidence in the vehicle, it's going to be important to this case.
While CSIs impound the car and begin to process it for forensics, the detectives receive word from the hospital. Mackiva has died in surgery.
I really felt like dying myself, and I just blamed myself. You know, I just kind of beat myself up. I should have died in that house with Mackiva.
Despite the family's grief, the detectives ask Mackiva's mother to come in for a statement the following morning.
Why was this guy asking for Cuesta? We need to find out what's going on.
But there's little she can tell them.
Why would anybody be looking for me?
There's nothing to indicate that this house is where she lives.
You didn't owe anybody any money.
Have any problems with anyone at all?
No, no one.
Instead, Mackiva's mother offers up another explanation as to why someone may have targeted her daughter.
She talked about how she was now making 6 figures.
This was all on social media.
She wasn't bragging. She wanted to encourage people.
But did Mackiva end up doing the opposite?
People watching these posts could be jealous of her success.
2 motives for murder is jealousy and money.
Stay with us as the web of deception becomes increasingly clear. Stay tuned for more of the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
Hey, what's up? This is Alfreda's with the Urban One Podcast Network. Let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Chamberlain University. There's a pattern among successful people in any industry. They surround themselves with the right support. And in healthcare, that support starts at Chamberlain University. For over 130 years, Chamberlain has been helping nurses and healthcare professionals fulfill their calling. It's the largest nursing school in the country, offering flexible learning, real mentorship, and a network of over 160,000 professionals. Because progress isn't just about working harder. It's about having the right people in your corner. You got this, and Chamberlain has got you. Get started at chamberlain.edu.Chamberlain University. Belong to something greater. Certified to operate by Chev.
Detectives investigating the murder of Mackiva Jenkins have learned that the 34-year-old business consultant was killed soon after posting online about her financial success.
Mackiva had done very well for herself, and she had no problem posting about it.
She talked about how she started with nothing and became successful.
The post was meant to be very encouraging. Basically, she was like, if I can do it, you can do it too.
But now detectives wonder if someone took Mackiva's post the wrong way.
Social media always causes a lot of jealousy, especially among friends, because not everybody's able to get out of the old neighborhood and improve their lifestyle.
Police had to consider whether the killer could be a client.
When you look at somebody's business practice, you're looking for some unhappy customers. And in business, there's always going to be 1 or 2 people that are unhappy with your services.
They looked at whether or not she had promised to set up someone's business and it didn't go the way they wanted it to go.
After police interviewed Mackiva's mother, they started looking into Mackiva's business to find if there were any disgruntled clients that may have had a motive to want to take revenge.
When they look into Mackiva Jenkins' financial dealings and her business dealings, they don't really find anything wrong.
But when detectives scroll through Mackiva's social media accounts, they do find something interesting.
There was some heated exchanges between Mackiva and another woman.
Her name is Courtney Bell.
Courtney was the mother of Yuri's daughter from before Mackiva and Yuri met.
She had some very, very negative, nasty things to say about Mackiva Jenkins.
Courtney was disparaging and really ridiculing Mackiva. It was brutal.
When you post trashing someone who is murdered a very short time later, it's only natural that you're going to become suspect number 1.
From the posts, it appears that Courtney may have had reason to resent Mackiva and Yuri's success.
He owed back child support to her over $10,000. And when somebody is owed money, feels like they've been left out, and now somebody posts how well they're doing, that automatically would be a trigger point to set off somebody's anger.
There's one problem with the theory, though.
The police knew for sure that she was not the shooter, as the shooter was a male. She did not fit the description.
That does not mean that she was not involved in some way.
When detectives bring Courtney in for questioning, she doesn't deny making the social media posts.
Courtney was honest about the fact that she does not like Mackiva Jenkins.
She's always talking about how much money she's got.
However, that isn't the only reason she resents Mackiva.
She is upset about the lack of a relationship between her child and the child's father, Yuri Jenkins.
If it wasn't for her, we'd still be together.
However, Courtney denies any involvement in Mackiva's murder.
She said she had absolutely nothing to do with Mackiva's death, and she would not want anything bad to happen to her.
The detectives can't be certain, though, and after talking to Courtney, they subpoena her cell phone records.
They want to see who she's spoken to during that time period. Are there messages going back and forth with someone?
Then, while waiting to hear back from Courtney's cell provider, detectives review the requested surveillance footage from Mackiva's neighborhood.
The police received surveillance videos from other homes in the area, trying to see where the shooter may have came from. Were they alone?
The footage records Dimitri driving into the neighborhood in the car the killer would later use for his getaway.
Dimitri Dale's vehicle, moments before it gets to Mackiva Jenkins' house, it stops for some reason.
A few seconds later, the detectives have the answer.
There appears to be someone getting out of the passenger side.
Someone is with Dimitri.
The footage is very grainy, so it's really difficult to make out who the person was.
But one thing is crystal clear.
There's something that Dimitri's not telling them.
Stay tuned for more of the Fatal Attraction podcast.
Detectives investigating Mackiva Jenkins' murder have just found video of Dimitri Dale dropping someone off a few doors down from the crime scene.
This mystery person immediately raises alarms.
Dimitri never mentioned that there was someone else with him while he was driving to Yuri and Mackiva's house.
However, before bringing Dimitri in for further questioning, detectives received a forensic report on his stolen car.
The shooters described taking the vehicle.
Unfortunately, CSI didn't find any usable prints that could help identify the shooter.
But they don't come away completely empty-handed.
When they searched the car, they found receipts from fast food restaurants.
There were receipts on the day of the murder.
Hoping to learn the identity of Dimitri's passenger, detectives subpoena the security footage from the fast food restaurant.
We're gonna have security cameras, and they're looking to see if they can identify anybody else in the car.
When the police look at the footage from the drive-thru, they notice that there was a gentleman in the car with Dimitri.
One video even shows the man getting out of the car.
It was about 10:30 at night, and you see on camera a black male get out of the vehicle and help push the car out of the drive-thru.
They don't know whether it's broken down or it's out of gas, but there's Dimitri Dale, and there's a mystery individual, roughly 4 hours before the murder of Mackiva Jenkins.
Ready to confront Dimitri, detectives bring him to the station for a second interview.
Detectives initially didn't mention that they had a video of him dropping someone off near Mackiva's house.
Instead, they ask him about the fast food receipts and the man in the drive-thru video.
Dimitri tells police, "Oh, that's my friend, Javon Joseph."
Okay, what about Mr. Joseph? What's your relationship with Mr. Joseph?
I've known him 5 years, about over 5 years now with my brother.
Dimitri Dale says 21-year-old Javon Joseph was someone who was hanging out with him, and he took him to Yuri Jenkins.
You and Javon chilling one day, and you ended up at Yuri's house, and he was with you?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
He took him to get a haircut.
He got a haircut from Yuri. He talked with Yuri about the football game that was on TV. And once he got a haircut, he ended up hanging out with Yuri.
Javon only went to Yuri's house once with you?
Dimitri told investigators that they just hung out for a bit, and then he took Jovan home before returning to Yuri's alone later that evening.
But if that's the case, who was the man on the surveillance footage seen exiting his car inside Mackiva's neighborhood?
Why is it that Dimitri failed to mention this person's name when he was questioned initially.
They're asking themselves, what motive does Dimitri Dale have to want to end the life of Mackiva Jenkins?
After Dimitri's second interview, the detectives bring 21-year-old Jovan Joseph in for questioning.
They want to talk to him and find out exactly what he knows and precisely what is his involvement here.
Jovan says, yeah, I was over there earlier.
Dude told me he cut hair.
Yuri?
Yeah, that's his name.
Jovan was a relative unknown. He appeared to be a stranger to Mackiva Jenkins.
He also confirms that Dimitri gave him a ride home around 10 o'clock.
He actually has an alibi. He said that he was at the hospital at 2 o'clock in the morning visiting a friend.
He tells them that was what I was doing at the time of Mackiva Jenkins' murder.
But when detectives follow up with the hospital, his alibi isn't so airtight.
There is a record of Jovan Joseph visiting a friend at the hospital.
However, according to the visitor log, he signed in at 3 o'clock that morning, not 2.
This is about an hour after the murder had occurred.
He's lying, and the question remains, where was he?
Police begin to suspect that there's more to the story with Dimitri and Jovan.
Looking for some answers, the detectives ask Mackiva's brother, Marquavius, to also come back in for another interview.
Now, what can you tell us about Jovan Joseph?
Nothing much, really.
Way says, I don't know Jovan, but he was at the home earlier that day.
Dimitri had a friend that came over, ended up getting a hot top fade.
There's something funny about it, though, something I've been thinking about.
They were talking amongst each other, Yuri, Dimitri, and Jovan. I'm in the garage playing the game, and I just see them all huddled up.
When they were leaving, Dimitri and the other dude went out to the car.
Yuri was leaned over in the window and was talking to them. And Quay said that he was talking to them for about half an hour.
So I get up. I go over there where they at to try to at least tune in or see what they talking about, put my little 2 cents in.
Mackiva's brother says an awkward silence followed.
Everything just went quiet when I got around. Nothing was said, everybody just looking at each other.
What were they talking about?
I don't know.
Before I walked up, they were just having a full-blown conversation.
Is there some type of plan being hatched?
Stay with us as the web of deception becomes increasingly clear.
Hey, what's up? This is Alfreda's with the Urban One Podcast Network. Let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Chamberlain University. There's a pattern among successful people in any industry. They surround themselves with the right support. And in healthcare, that support starts at Chamberlain University. For over 130 years, Chamberlain has been helping nurses and healthcare professionals fulfill their calling. It's the largest nursing school in the country, offering flexible learning, real mentorship, and a network of over 160,000 professionals. Because progress isn't just about working harder. It's about having the right people in your corner. You got this, and Chamberlain has got you. Get started at chamberlain.edu.Chamberlain University. Belong to something greater. Certified to operate by Chev.
Mackiva Jenkins' brother has revealed to investigators that hours before she was murdered, her husband Yuri may have been plotting something with his friend Dimitri Dale and a man named Jovan Joseph.
Jovan was the man that police suspected may have been Mackiva's killer.
Jovan, Dimitri, and Yuri were talking by Dimitri's car for about 20 to 30 minutes.
A few hours later, Mackiva was dead.
So now the situation goes from random to personal.
Police start looking deeper into the relationship between Yuri and Mackiva.
From all appearances, this was a couple that was thriving together and growing together.
But when detectives get a call from Mackiva's friend, Natasha Williams, a different picture of the couple's relationship starts to emerge.
They start to see that there were some issues in the relationship.
Mackiva had confided in Natasha that Yuri had cheated on her with different women.
Until, according to Natasha, Mackiva finally had enough.
She started distancing herself from her husband emotionally. She started holding back from him financially.
She wants out of the relationship. She was planning on getting a divorce.
Could that be the motive behind her murder?
Mackiva was the breadwinner in this marriage. She had a lucrative business. So if Mackiva were to divorce Yuri, that gravy train would go dry.
When the detectives dig deeper into the couple's financials, they find yet another reason Yuri might have wanted Mackiva dead.
Police discover that there was a $500,000 life insurance policy that Mackiva Jenkins had taken out.
Hoping to confirm Yuri was after a big payday, detectives reach out to the insurance company.
When police actually looked into the policy, they found out that Mackiva had changed the beneficiary information and made her grandmother the beneficiary.
Yuri thought that this $500,000 policy had him as a beneficiary.
He contacted the company about getting his money, and he was shocked when they told him that he's not the beneficiary.
When he's told he's not the beneficiary, he says, wow. And then he asks who the beneficiary was.
They told him, we can't reveal that information. And his response was, there's no way she could have changed it in time.
That's not a normal reaction for somebody calling about a beneficiary on a life insurance policy. That's a confession.
Now convinced that Yuri was behind Mackiva's murder, detectives still need more evidence to file formal charges against him.
The detectives subpoenaed cell phone records from both Yuri Jenkins and Jovan Joseph, hoping to tie them together.
According to the phone records, there was no direct contact between Yuri and the suspected shooter.
That didn't mean Yuri and Jovan wasn't in communication in some kind of way.
The phone records showed that there was just constant communication between Yuri and Dimitri and Jovan.
Figuring Dimitri is the key to connecting Jovan to Yuri, detectives bring him in for another round of questioning.
We're going to talk about some stuff. I need you to be honest, because don't hide anything. It's just going to hurt you.
Yeah, I don't have no reason to.
You don't confront him. When you confront him, then he can say, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
I want you to clarify that this is you sending the messages to Javon, or back and forth with Javon. And then you can explain what you mean by these things.
Once Dimitri finds out that the police are on to the fact that he knows more than he led up to, he realizes that there's no more room to tell lies.
It's not that I was trying to cover for them, I just didn't want to say nothing.
You said you did.
I just didn't want to say nothing, so if that's covering...
You did cover for them, man.
I did lie.
He told the police that Yuri talked to him about wanting to have someone killed.
And I was just saying, listen, man, I don't want nothing to do with this. You need to watch who you talk to, because, people can go and they saying you running your mouth, this and that, but he kept pressing.
And so he put Yuri in touch with Jovan.
Although that was all Dimitri claimed to have done.
He initially said that he didn't know what happened between them or what they'd arranged.
But the detective keeps pushing.
You let him keep talking. You let him keep changing his story, because every time you change his story, you can go back and say, oh, by the way, you forgot to tell me about this.
I didn't hear that.
Eventually, Dimitri admits Yuri had paid Jovan to kill Mackiva.
When I talked to Jovan, he told me the truth. He said, your boy offered me $1,500.
He also admitted that he gave Jovan a ride to the house on the night of the murder.
This confirmed their theory that Jovan was the man seen getting out of Dimitri's car in the Jenkins neighborhood just moments before the shooting.
Do you know that the state attorney's office prosecutor still can charge you as an accessory, okay, or conspiracy to commit murder on the surface, but I wanted to use you as a witness, okay?
He's caught and he knows he's going down and he's trying to cut a deal.
He actually starts cooperating with the police. He began to wear a wire every time he had conversations with Yuri.
In these recorded conversations, Dimitri tells Yuri something to the effect of Jovan Joseph was really eager to get the rest of the money that he said Yuri promised him.
That's not all Dimitri tells him either.
He told him Jovan was talking to the police.
Yuri's response to that was to tell Dimitri to tell Jovan to shut up.
He's like, hey, shut all that down.
Stay tuned for more of the Fatal Attraction podcast.
Detectives in Palm Beach County, Florida, have convinced Yuri Jenkins' friend, Dimitri Dale, to secretly record their phone conversations.
They was hoping to catch Yuri making admissions about his wife, Mackiva's murder.
But Yuri plays it cool.
He shuts Dimitri down and told him to stop talking and don't say anything else.
So the detectives try a different approach and take Jovan Joseph, their third suspected conspirator, into custody.
This is a very unfortunate time in your life, but you also don't want to be the only one taking the fall.
Taking the fall for what, bro? Like, I still...
At first, Jovan denied all of these allegations.
I didn't shoot this lady. I didn't do nothing.
You're gonna let Yuri just walk away?
Jovan was caught. His only option to save his skin was to point the finger at Yuri Jenkins.
Backed into a corner, Jovan finally admits his role in the murder.
I was really just trying to help him out, bro, really, to be honest.
His confession gives detectives more than enough evidence to take Yuri into custody.
With the testimony of his best friend and the trigger man, they had what they needed.
You should be charged with first-degree murder. Mackiva.
What?
Yuri denies being involved in the murder of his wife.
Man, I would not kill my wife, man.
Well, of course you wouldn't, but you had somebody do it.
Yuri never admitted to anything that would implicate him in the murder of his wife.
But thanks to Dimitri and Jovan's statements, detectives are able to charge him with first-degree murder. News of Yuri's arrest comes as a shock to Mackiva's family.
I had so much love for Yuri that I didn't want to believe that he actually did that.
It never even dawned on me that it was him.
When the case goes to trial in May of 2022, Yuri is the only defendant that stands before the judge.
The prosecution cut deals with Dimitri Dale and Jovan Joseph to testify against Yuri Jenkins.
Jovan Joseph was actually the trigger man, but he ended up getting a second-degree manslaughter charge with no more than 20 years.
Dimitri was given a probationary sentence of 15 years for manslaughter.
According to the prosecution's star witnesses, Yuri's motive was money.
Mackiva was doing very well. She accomplished her dream, and she was going to take him with her. Before he cheated on her, he could have just walked away, but instead he paid those guys to kill her with her money. He had her killed, thinking he was going to live in a big house with an insurance policy.
There was a policy of $500,000 that Yuri Jenkins thought was coming to him.
He wanted everything, the house, the car. He wanted it all.
So he started working on a plan.
He went to his closest friend, Dimitri.
They wanted to throw police off the scent. They wanted to make it seem as if this was some random act.
Which is where Jovan Joseph came in.
Jovan was just some kid that Dimitri knew. There was nothing tying him to Yuri and Mackiva.
Everybody was hoping that they get a piece of that insurance policy that he was going to get after she died.
But first, they'd have to get away with it. And Yuri had a plan for that too.
Yuri Jenkins bringing Mackiva there was part of his plan to throw police off the trail.
He was real smart to have the brother there. The brother's reaction took the suspicion off everybody there.
They plotted all this up under me, under my nose, played me like a fool.
Their plan unfolding perfectly. Jovan went upstairs, pretending that he was looking for Mackiva's mother.
They wanted the whole angle involving the mother the focus instead of this plan for Yuri Jenkins to get this money.
Then he finally slipped into the bedroom and shot Mackiva in her sleep.
During the trial, when they asked Jovan, why'd you shoot her in the head? His reaction was to finish the job.
The only silver lining in this is that she was sleeping. She didn't even see it coming.
The defense can't dispute the killer's own testimony about how Mackiva died, but they have their own theory about why she was murdered.
The defense's theory of the case was that Dimitri Dale felt like he had something to gain by orchestrating this killing, and Dimitri and Jovan had framed Yuri.
The jurors reject the defense's claims, finding Yuri guilty of first-degree murder.
He was the one who set it up, thought he was going to get away, had the great plan, and it didn't happen.
Yuri ended up getting life in prison for being the mastermind.
For Mackiva's mother, a life behind bars isn't enough.
It's too easy of a punishment when he's in the grave down under, like my daughter is. That's when I'll be extremely glad.
And the pain of losing her will never fully heal.
Every day I wake up, I miss my daughter.
I could never forget. I won't never forget. I just can't get past it, and I don't think I ever will.
It's a startling revelation when love transforms into hate, revealing unexpected truths. This journey through the complexities of relationships challenges everything we thought we knew about devotion and betrayal. Mackiva Jenkins loved others. She uplifted herself and chose to look back and help those in need. Her legacy of triumph will ensure that she is forever remembered and cherished by her family and friends. Coming up on the next episode of the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
She was an ambitious young woman trying to find her way in the world.
She was a wonderful, outgoing person. Just being around her was joyful. She was that person that brightened up the room.
And her stunning good looks attracted droves of admirers.
She always stayed popular. Boys loved to just be around her.
But when she mysteriously disappears, her loved ones fear the worst.
Me and my sister want to file a missing persons report.
A joyful, refreshing, vibrant woman from Detroit, 23-year-old woman, has vanished without a trace, sending shockwaves through her community. When she fails to return home one evening, concern quickly turns into urgency as police launch a full-scale search for answers. Tune in to the next episode of the Fatal Attraction Podcast. We will see you in the next episode.